Black Alpha Network. Power to the people.
Peace, family, peace, family, peace, family. One love to everybody who's already in here. We're going to break it down. We're going to chop it up. Y'all know how we do. It's going to be a good, thorough discussion, some good dialogue, but we're going to talk about, obviously, affirmative action, but we're going to speak about the wake-up call for a lot of people who have been benefiting off affirmative action, but have been using foundational Black Americans as a ploy or some type of catalyst or tether so they can get off whatever they're trying to get off. So we're going to break all that down. Y'all know it's a very complex issue, but we're going to make it plain. We're going to make it simple for everybody to understand that it's got to be lineage-based. It's got to be about us, only us, for us, all the time, 24/7, nothing in between, no devices, just us. So we're going to have a real good conversation about that. First things first, we're going to have to go ahead and get rid of some of the myths and the misnomers about affirmative action. Affirmative action, just to let everybody know, has not benefited foundational Black Americans. Do not let anybody tell you that it has. Do not let anybody tell you something other than. We know people personally who have been involved or have been affected by it, and they have not gained one single inch, one single piece of progress to further foundational Black Americans. That's it, and we know that. So you're going to see a whole lot of things coming at you in the next few days. You're going to hear the Democratic Party coming out, and they're going to try to use this as some type of, piece to get us to go vote. Because if you guys notice, every time around election season, there's always something that pops up that the Democrats point to, and they say, look, the Republicans are violating y'all rights as Black people. And it's always something of that nature that they use to go ahead and try to get us to go vote for the Democratic Party. And trust and believe, they're already going to use this. Barack Obama, he already came out and he was putting out a whole long statement. You already seen that. Michelle Obama, she came out and she wrote a whole long statement about it. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all the Democrats are at play, and they're basically trying to use trick language and tell foundational Black Americans that this is some type of assault or violation against our rights. But in reality, this is about W women, this is about minorities, this is about immigrants, and this is about tethers. Those are going to be the people who are affected by it, because those are the people who have been mooching off of it. Point blank, plain and simple. So if you look at affirmative action was something that was meant for foundational Black Americans. That's what it was about. But just like every single law or policy that's ever created for us, it's not enforced politically, and other people ended up benefiting from what is us. You can look at the immigration policies. You can go all the way back to the 1960s. Any type of civil rights bill, any type of civil rights act. They know how to put foundational Black American in the headline, but then when you look at the fine details and the nuances in the print, you find out that it goes to everybody except for us. So this is something that we in the new Black media, the Black grassroots, and quite frankly, this whole generation, we are the ones that have been canceling out these type of, myths and, like I said, these lies. We are the ones out here really putting it down and letting individuals know that it's truly about us, nobody else. And therefore, we're going to make sure everything comes to light, and we're going to make sure everything gets told the way it needs to be told. But y'all give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up my brother, and then we're going to break everything down. All right, Brother Afro, I see you on there, brother. I'm not sure if it'll let you come off mute, though, family. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I got you, family. I was getting some DMs and people telling me it was messing up, man. But you know how we do, family. How you living, brother?
I'm good. The smoke ain't killing me yet. The quote-unquote Canadian smoke. Y'all got some powerful smoke up there, but it ain't got me yet. But the space was acting a little weird because it allowed me to become co-host, but it, like, the microphone part said request. It didn't say like mute or unmute. So it was just saying request for a bit. So it took a long time to, I guess, fully like transfer me into the co-host position. So, they don't want us talking about this. So
yeah, I knew it was going to be something funny, bro. As soon as I connected, it took like 30 seconds to connect. It was like connecting. So we know whenever we start breaking down some real good intel, man, they be messing with us. But brother, we were already talking about, affirmative action and the way that they're going to try to use this, as some type of, violation of Black rights, and it's an assault on us, and the Republicans are out to get us, and we need to, as Black Americans, go fight for it so they can really put this off on other groups. How do you feel, family, about the way they're going to try to use this situation, as well as other situations like voter rights and, whenever we're harmed by a race soldier? How do you feel that they're going to try to use this against us, brother, in this next coming election?
Well, first off, I feel like all of them, and when I say all, I do mean the Republicans and the Democrats, want this to happen. They all want to go back to the old ways. They all want to go back to how it was before the civil rights movement, before we had any rights at all. They all want that. Anytime they talk about, oh no, the Republicans, they're trying to do this, and they're just so overwhelmingly powerful. It's just like we can't stop them. Now, the Democrats are in office right now. They have control over major cities. When Joe Biden was in office, when he first got in there, he had the House and the Senate. Before the midterms, he had the House and the Senate. And they were selectively, and it's only when it comes to black people, they were selectively taking specific losses. Like, oh, here the Republicans go. They're doing this, black people. They're doing this, black people. We can't stop them. Just like there was a case recently with the Amanda rights, and the Republicans pretty much, or what they claim, the Republicans said that the police do not have an obligation to read somebody their Miranda rights. And here comes the Democrats. Oh, my God, they're just so powerful. What can we do? This is why you need to vote for us, because if we don't have the House and the Senate, there's nothing we can do. But they want that to happen. So what's happening is they're burning the candle on two. It's a term for it. It's slipping my mind. But they're pretty much allowing the Republicans to do that. And they're trying to kill two birds with one stone by saying we can accomplish this, and then the Republicans can be the fall guy, and then we're the ones who come up and clean everything up. So we get the votes for the agenda that both the Republicans and the Democrats pushed. So this is their whole plan, because I can guarantee you none of them wanted affirmative action. Not the Republicans or the Democrats. None of them approved of affirmative action to this degree. They don't want this at all, because if they did, they would have been fought this. They would have been fought against this, just like they didn't want Roe v. Wade. They didn't want the abortion thing, but they're going to act like they're opposed to it. This is controlled opposition.
Brother, I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm glad you pointed that out, because you know how we're always speaking, you, I, as well as others, particularly in the black grassroots, that supremacy plays both sides of the argument. And this is one of the main ways, to the point that you just made, that they play both sides of the argument and they work together. Because what's the one denominator that goes across country lines, political lines, religious lines, racial lines? That's the animosity, the hatred for foundational black Americans. So when you start seeing all of these different groups come at play, they all have the same goal in mind, and that's to suppress and keep us down as a whole. And this right here highlights that to the T, as our brother just put. So when you look at this situation, they know how to point the finger. You did it. No, you did it. And they'll do that all day long. It's always this back and forth, particularly in election time. When election season pops up, then it's always the Republicans or the Democrats. Y'all notice that the Democrats, they always act like they can't fight the Republicans during the time where they have all of the power. During election season, it's y'all vote for us, we're going to solve everything. And then when they get elected, they say, well, we can't solve everything. And this is how they reel people in, and this is how they get people's votes. And they do this consistently time and time again. And we understand that there is no hero and villain. It's just villains. All right. We got this thing sometimes where brothers and sisters want to make one the hero, one the villain. But once you understand that you're dealing with two villains that both have the same denominator, and that is they want to suppress and hate foundational black Americans, then you can operate functionally. When you understand they play both sides of the argument, then you can operate functionally. And that's the way we've been doing it right now. So as you look around and everybody sees this type of situation that's occurring with affirmative action, it is no different than voter suppression. With the whole voter suppression situation, what they do, they're still out here right now saying, y'all know the Republicans is trying to take y'all vote away. Now, everybody in here right now can go vote. Everybody. When have foundational black Americans not had the right to vote? You know, they always use that so they can say, foundational black Americans, you guys get up, you guys go out in the street, you do all of the heavy lifting, you do all of the groundwork, and as soon as you accomplish it, we're going to slide it off to another group. And that's what they specialize in. And they know how to put black in the headline, but they know how to put minority in every other group in the details. And that's what it is consistently, and that's our job to call it out. Sir Funk, brother, it's all on you.
Hey fam, can y'all hear me?
I got you, brother.
Hey, yeah, no, and I just want to I want to confirm and reiterate everything you've been saying, and then also I would like to add that we know that we as foundationals and certified have come to the place where we need to be, where we are no longer trying to adjust to their game, but they're trying to adjust to ours. We no longer There's not enough of us. I mean, we're not quite at the critical mass of our agenda is what we're talking about as opposed to how to overcome their agenda. And that's the place where we need to be. And, I'm going to land my plane right there. That's all we need to do.
Appreciate that, brother. I'm going to piggyback off that. And I want to ask you a question, Brother Afro, since me and you are very, very skilled on breaking down solutions to these type of issues, or just really giving some type of forecast for our next step. After affirmative action has been canceled, broke down, and this chain of events and the domino effect that's going to happen, what do you see next in this issue, Brother Afro, in terms of it going across the board? Because I was listening to our brother, Dr. Randy Short, and he said this is going to set the precedence for affirmative action to be knocked down in a lot of different areas. How do foundational Black Americans be prepared for that, counter that, and just be our exceptional self?
Okay. All right. You can hear me, right? Because it's taking a little bit of time to unmute. Okay. So the situation, if you guys haven't seen what Dr. Short was talking about earlier today, the situation pretty much is that affirmative action, what the Supreme Court did is they didn't necessarily ban affirmative action. But what the Supreme Court does is they allow affirmative action. States can choose, just like with the whole thing with Roe v. Wade. Now states get to choose whether they want to do affirmative action or whether they don't. Now a whole bunch of states are going to opt out of doing affirmative action. Pretty much, this is what's going to happen. So you're going to see this become a big thing when it comes to blue cities. This is going to become, when I say blue, I mean democratic cities. This is going to be a big topic when it comes to vote for me. I stand for affirmative action. Just the same way they were doing with Roe v. Wade. They're going to do this. They're going to use this as the talking point to say, hey, affirmative action, guys. I stand for that. I stand for affirmative action. So vote for me. So now a lot of states, which is why they don't mind, because now a lot of states, a lot of governors and mayors, they're going to use this so they can get some type of political leg up, saying the Republicans, if you allow the Republicans to get in, Illinois is not going to have affirmative action if you allow him to get in. If you allow him to get in, Atlanta's not going to have affirmative action anymore. So you have to keep me in here because I'm the one who's standing for affirmative action. So you're going to have that. You're going to have Joe Biden and you're going to have the federal government using, oh, come on, guys, we got to get these Congress seats. We got to get these House seats. We got to get these seats, because if you allow too many Republicans in, then they're going to take away affirmative action everywhere. And there's going to be no affirmative action anywhere in America. They're going to use this to try to scare Black people into getting a lot of the votes, just like they were trying to do. And they were surprisingly to them, unsuccessful when it came to the Roe v. Wade situation. They were like, come on, guys, stop all that reparations talk, and we can talk about that later. Roe v. Wade, that's the big issue of the century. And then Black people was like, nah, that's not. So now they're all like, okay, well, the Roe v. Wade thing didn't get them back on track. So now the affirmative action thing, they're going to keep the same energy and be like, okay, we're going to try to use this to get you guys back on track. Because, if they take affirmative action away, you guys won't have any jobs. This is what they're going to say. They're going to say Black people are going to be unemployed and jobless without affirmative action, despite the fact that in every single city in the United States of America, Black people are the most unemployed in those states. There's not a single state in the United States of America where non-Black people, specifically white people, are face more unemployment than Black people. That Black people are more employed than white people are. Nowhere, okay? But yet they're going to act like that's not the truth. They're going to act like that's not a fact, and they're going to be all like, oh, guys, come on. You guys know all of y'all are going to be homeless in a couple of years if you don't vote for me. They're going to use this as a scare tactic. All of these big corporations and all that stuff, they're rubbing their hands together. They're popping champagne. They're like, oh, we can get these Blacks out of this building. All these corporations and all of that stuff, it's going to be so, listen, it's going to be bad for Black people in those places. So this is what the enemy is going to do with this. Now, fortunately, actually, this can be a good thing for black people. Because let's be honest, it's not like affirmative action was helping us anyway. Affirmative action wasn't helping us primarily anyway. See, their hatred of black people is now going to affect everybody. It's now going to affect all these non-white, non-blacks. So everybody's going to be in a very bad position. All of these other ethnic groups that were benefiting from affirmative action, all of these other ethnic groups that were telling us we just need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, all of them are going to be hurt way worse than we were because they benefit from it, not us. Yeah, hold on. Can you give me Alpha? Can you give me a second?
Got you, brother. Got you. Matter of fact, you just threw me a good alley-oop right there, family. This is definitely an affirmative action wake-up call. Half of these groups on these college campuses, and let's just talk about it. We'll break them down statistically and categorically. We'll start with some of these non-FBA black people that been coming over here telling us that I've got the degree, why don't you have a degree? Them type of folks right there. As a matter of fact, I'm hearing in like places like Harvard, they represent 1/3 of the actual student body where they dominate foundational black Americans in terms of success. Only reason is because they dominate foundational black Americans in terms of actually getting inside of the colleges. And that's based on affirmative action. So basically, in a nutshell, foundational black Americans that created all of these policies, we're not benefiting from it while people come here from goddamn Uganda overnight and then they get the access to it. This is why this is a wake up call, and no longer can they say that. And once this domino starts to fall and it spreads all the way across the country, as our brother was just alluding to, then all of these other groups are going to have to hold their own nuts. That's exactly what they're going to have to do. And I have no problem with it. That's a good damn thing because foundational black Americans, we've been holding everybody up in the process. So it's time some of these other people can do their own damn work and some of these other people can get their own grind on. So therefore, this does not necessarily affect us because we know how to get it on our own anyway. I mean, when you start talking about foundational black Americans and they all run around and act like, we're being, violated and stripped of our rights, at the end of the day, we've had to fight for everything and they try to keep everything away from us anyway. So what's really new? What's really new for foundational black American? Is a hurdle or an obstacle new to us? Is somebody putting a blockade in front of us? Is that new? Every day, the dominant society always tries to put something in front of us and say that, oh, that's new. That ain't new. Brothers and sisters been dealing with this stuff for hundreds of years. We know how to go around it. We know how to go over it. In a lot of cases, we know how to walk right through that shit. So if they're going to try to tell us that this is a violation of our rights or this is some type of new precedence or epic thing that's going to stifle us, that's a damn lie. Nothing has been able to do that because they've always put those in front of us and we've continued to succeed through all of the bullshit. We're going to move on. TASD. I don't know how to say your name, but you know.
That's Tasman. That's Tasman. Am I coming in?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, so just to build off what you were saying, that's exactly that point I think is salient, and I think that's what we're missing here. This is actually a good thing. When you look at the immigrant groups that came in this country, they have been the beneficiaries of affirmative action. And instead of them being grateful and saying, hey, this group gave us a sacrifice, they use it to kind of reinforce their insecurities and to cover up their insecurities. So this is just the sign of the times. It's the political action of the grassroots is about to take place, right? And everybody understands affirmative action should be legacy based. It shouldn't be based on race. It should be based on the victims of Jim Crow and ABS, American beast slavery. And for the record, I coined that term, ABS, American beast slavery, but it should be for the descendants of those victims and to the victims of Jim Crow that's still alive today and their children. Those are the only people in this country that deserve subsidies or any type of benefit. Everybody else, it's a free fall and it should be that way. So that's one. Two, in regards to the college admission, these HBCUs, man, they need to start all these HBCUs, because right now, black people, it's on equal footing at these HBCUs, whether you're from the Caribbean, Africa, or you're African American. If you're African American, tuition should be free at these HBCUs, right? Like that's another conversation that needs to be had. These HBCUs were created for the descendants of America, for the victims of American beast slavery initially and their descendants. It shouldn't be for Well, it should be for other blacks, but you have to pay tuition and you have to get in based on the criteria. So, that's another conversation that needs to be had that will actually level the playing field to where it needs to be leveled. Howard, medical school, Bowie State, all of these HBCUs, tuition, housing, medical, that needs to be covered flat out. So, this is a silver lining, man, and it's a wake-up call that now the grassroots, we need to start moving, and we need to start writing legislation community, not from black sellouts, but from the people who really care about the community, and I'll leave it at that.
Good points, family. Good points. That's what it is. The precedence is going to be set. And it all goes back to the black grassroots. It all goes back to the black grassroots. Everything that we're doing right now, you're starting to see the tide turn. These pieces right here and these things that go on and occur, that's all because of what we're doing. We're changing the discourse in this country. This type of stuff, trust and believe, wouldn't have went on during the Barack Obama era. Barack Obama, he was the main type of person out there. I mean, hell, he's not FBA. You know what I'm saying? This is his daddy right here. This is his daddy who was benefiting off this type of stuff. This is his lineage. His lineage ain't ours. So he was one of the main people out there talking. As a matter of fact, like I said earlier, he's already put out a statement. Y'all notice anytime something happens to a foundational black American, the Obamas don't say nothing. And if they do, it's that same tired ass scripted out, we need to do better. One day we shall overcome. If something happens to any other group and you think of the group, whether that's the Skittles bag community, whether that's the immigrant tether, the Fleer community, whoever, they put out a statement immediately. But you can see the energy's different. When it comes to us, it's that depressed negative shit. When it comes to somebody else, they be upset, they be angry, they be wanting results like right now. You can look right now, he already put out a statement. Barack Obama did it. So did Kamala Harris, and so did Joe Biden. So you already see that the Democratic Party and the Democratic plantation, and a lot of people who push these type of policies that put foundational black Americans underneath everybody, they're really upset right now. But it all goes back to the black grassroots. I was reading about Cornell University. They don't even ask black folks how long you've been here. They don't even ask. So basically, in other terms, lineage means nothing to them. Heritage means nothing to them. It's anybody can come on in. It's a free flow. And that's what it is. And they know goddamn well, because these people have access to all the data and all the statistics. They know who these laws were made for, and they know who benefits off those laws, and it ain't us. You got Becky, Karen, and Sally, and then you got Mr. Mutombo, Mr. Fufu, and Mr. Joloff. These type of groups right there. And these are the same individuals who don't do a damn thing for us. So I feel no type of way of sympathy at all for anybody who's upset today about this ruling. I could give two fucks, because foundational black Americans, we've been out here putting in all the groundwork and benefiting everybody else. So therefore, they don't get benefits off of our labor, off our ancestors, off our lineage, or our heritage. I could care less. It is what it is. Afro, I don't know if you're back yet, brother, but if you are, you can come on back up.
I'm back.
All right, bro. Let me ask you this, family. Me and you was talking about this. Let me ask you this as well, family. In terms of, affirmative action, what you've heard, because we all have our own testimonies. Have you heard any stories from anybody in your family or a friend's family or anybody of the lineage that has ever benefited? Because I don't know one person that has ever benefited off of affirmative action at all who's a foundational black American. So if you ask me how many people do I know who's benefited who are not FBA, I'll give you about 12 stories. If you ask me who is FBA has benefited from it, I don't know any. How about you, brother?
Brother, to be totally honest with you, I feel as if affirmative action harms foundational black Americans. I feel affirmative action does the exact opposite of what it was originally supposed to do. Now, if you guys have been studying Dr. Claude Anderson, he talks about affirmative action's original purpose was to be in place to counter the anti-black racism that was in the workplace, that was in the work field, and then that went on to schools and colleges and things like that, because there was a lot of black people who were qualified, and even more so qualified than their now black counterparts, but they were being denied jobs. So that's when affirmative action came in to pretty much put a stipulation in a quota there so that they can say, okay, if these people are all equally qualified, you can't have 99% of non-black people be in there or W's be in there, and you have all these black people. So that's really what affirmative action was originally designed to do. Now, when they allowed the word minority to be in, it allowed white women, it allowed Hispanics, it allowed white women are the main ones who benefit from it. Never forget white women, Hispanics, Asians, all of these other people to get in. And since we're all in this bubble of minority, then they leapfrog us and they prioritize us. And we've been filtered at the bottom of that. So actually, what has become a result of that is that Black people who are equal or even more qualified for certain job positions, for certain school positions and scholarships and grants and so forth, we've been filtered at the bottom. So now we're having less qualified, what they call people of color, being prioritized over us. And we've been dealing with the result of affirmative action being weaponized against our people, against foundational Black Americans. So now that you see that affirmative action is going to be ending, that's going to be a bad sign for other groups of people, because those other groups of people, those were the ones who were really benefiting because they were not fully qualified. Our people have been the ones who've been qualified for the business loans, the grants, the scholarships, the promotions, the this and that. And then other groups of people have leapfrogged that because of the affirmative action. Okay, you're an immigrant, so that's a minority. You're a woman, that's a double minority. You're a triple minority. You're a midget. You're a four minority. They've been doing that. Okay, and it's really been a weapon to empowering their buffer classes, not us. So in fact, I think that this is going to work in our favor, if you ask me.
Hey, brother, we're going to start calling that, like, buffer class affirmative action, because that's really all it's been. Going back to when we were all younger, basically at the end of the day, what it does is, like our brother said, it brings in all these other groups, these minorities, these people of color. And then the people who are foundational Black Americans, let's be honest with you, those people have been detected as coons. So they bring in these HBC coons, and these are the type of boule folks. So basically it's boule folks if you are FBA, and if not, it's everybody else. As our brother said, from, one minority all the way down to damn quadruple minority. And if you notice, once we started to cancel out the term minority and the term people of color and African American, you start to see these type of changes. As our brother was saying earlier, this is the Black grassroots. There's a domino effect. And like I say all the time, our success doesn't look like everybody else's success because we ain't everybody else. We move different, we walk different, we talk different. So when you start seeing these things, that's purely based on us. Purely. Minority doesn't really hold weight anymore because we out here saying, nah, we ain't no minority. We foundational Black Americans. We got to be specific. The term lineage base has really canceled out and crippled a lot of those terms that threw us in the boat with everybody. And once you start getting rid of those terms, now we got to start looking at things like affirmative action, the Roe versus Wade. We got to start looking at voter suppression. We got to start looking at those as funny style. But it all started with the changes of verbiage. Once you change the verbiage up, now everything looks different to us. And that's the beauty of this era, this generation, and all of us collectively. We got our words right. We got our words correct. So now, therefore, we're able to get rid of it. I've never heard anything positive about affirmative action when it comes to us. All I remember was hearing some people who may have benefited from it back in the day, but that lasted about a week, and half of those people all were just boule folks. That gave way to half of the Black politicians that you see. Half of them were just affirmative action boule people who come from these, these fake high class, colleges. They're in these fraternities. They ain't never did nothing for us. They ain't never served the people. They're completely out of touch. And if you look at their paperwork's dirty. And if you look at their paperwork, half of them ain't FBA anyway. So they've been out here masquerading as us, and they've been mooching off of our ancestors. And it's something that we have definitely got rid of in this era. And that's what the beauty part is. So we got to salute our goddamn selves, and we got to continue to push forward to let everybody know that we are on this side, and then everybody else is on that side. And it starts with telling everyone who is affected by affirmative action and the whole ruling today, they can hold their own nuts. Go ahead, my brother, Sir Funk.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that we're going to have an issue dealing with our Black boule and all of those people who are firmly.
I can't hear him. I don't know if he's speaking, but I can't hear him.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit, brother.
Hold on a second. Let me fix this right quick. Hold on. You hear me now? Good. Hello?
Yeah, I got you now. Go ahead, fam.
Okay. So what I wanted to say about that, and to add on to what you were saying, is that we're going to have to watch our boule class and all of those who are among us who are Democrat first, because obviously they took today as like the end of the world, and their marching orders are to go out and sell this as, you know, an attack against us, when it not only isn't it really isn't an attack against us. It's an attack against their specific privilege, and we've been trying to get rid of that for, you know, how long? For decades. We've been trying to get rid of all of these plantation flunkies. And this is the opportunity for us to also silence them. And it's also an opportunity for them to further expose themselves so that we know who they are. We already know it's the Obamas. We already know it's the so-called philosophers who black political hacks who get time on CNBC and CNN and whatnot. We know it's going to be them. And this is a chance for us to let them further expose themselves so that we can finally, you know, get a critical mass, the critical mass that I was talking about earlier, of people who now understand what is in front of us and what we have to do. You know, other than that, I land.
Hey, brother, I know exactly those political hacks you're talking about. The ones that come off from I am at tether.com or I want to date a zaddy.com. I see them people all the time.
And the Michael Eric Dyson types. Yeah, all of those people have to be, all those people, you know, we already know what they are about. And now that this is, like, as you say, as political season is coming up, this is the opportunity to further expose them and then finally, you know, slam dunk silence them, because they clearly, you know, they're clearly more detriment than help.
Yes, the Michael Erica Dyson, he's out there floating around. Everybody that we want to see. The Michael Erica Dyson.
Just to add on with the brother,
go ahead, brother.
Afro Elite was saying earlier about a good cop, bad cop. And struck on the Voting Rights Act totally, but they gutted. What they call gutting it is because these people, though, you know, the Democrats and Republicans, they're playing good cop, bad cop, right? So it's that balance and that balancing effect that they want to have with, you know, oh, these are the good guys and we're trying to, you know, oh, these are the bad guys and we're trying to save you from the bad guys. Where, you know, they're both team white supremacy, and this is the, you know, the manipulation. Cop, bad cop, or we're trying to help you and they're against you, when they're both on the same team. This is just another sign, man. The Sky Chief is home. It's time for us to separate, you know, and it's happening, you know, slowly but surely. That's ultimately where we're headed. But first, well, once again, we have to challenge each other to get out here and beat the streets, man. We got to get off the Twitter app. You know, the Twitter app is a great app to be on and for communication and for us to reach each other, you know, naturally. But, you know, we have to challenge each other to really get out here and be the evangelists of our community, man, and start spreading this gospel and really getting these young men, because that's where the power and that's where the source is at. It's in these young men that's out here that's, you know, that violent energy. We got to redirect that and turn, because really it's just masculine energy, right? And violence is just is an indicator of masculinity. So we need to really start organizing and, you know, hitting the streets and spreading this message, this message of good cheer, and building Black unity.
Big facts. Can you hear me, Brother Afro?
Yeah, I'm good. I wasn't hearing the brother Sir Funk for a little bit, but it was kind of coming in and out.
Fam, I want to ask you a question.
You said what?
I want to ask you a question, brother, in Chicago, because I know in Chicago there's a lot of different influx of people. Do you see a good representation of foundational Black Americans in the high levels of business? Because I always tell people, the more you go up in the business, the more white or non-FBA it becomes. Do you see any type of reflection of foundational Black Americans in like higher management, upper management, not lower management? Because, you know, as they say, they'll give us some damn human resource jobs real quick. And half the time they don't give those to Black males. What do you see in terms of business in Chicago as you go up the actual ladder opposed to the lower part?
As you go up the ladder, unfortunately, it does become it becomes a lot more scarce when it comes to FBA. It becomes a lot more scarce. And then the FBA that you do see up there, more than likely they're Sambos. More than likely they're the people who are in these fraternities from these HBCUs and colleges and so on and so forth. And the higher you go up there, the less FBA you see, the more Indians, the more Asians, the more non-FBA black people, the more white people. Those are the more people, the people you see when it comes to the upper management, executive, they're on the board. Those are the people you see in those positions. Black people, you'll see a lot of black people in the receptionist area. You'll see a lot of black. We're never short when it comes to being the black person, specifically the black women. They love to put them at the front desk of everything. They'll put them at the front desk of everything. They'll put the black man, he'll be in the front and at security. He'll be the big bad security guard or whatever. But the people making these big, huge decisions, those are not FBA people. And then there are the people, the FBAs who do get up. More than likely, those are the boule. More than likely, those are the fraternity crowd, and they got plugged in some way, in some form. And then they tend not to have any power in there as well, too. They're only in there just to kind of show face. So when people Google the board of such and such and such, they'll see, oh, well, that's Demetrius Johnson. Oh, okay, I see him, and that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying?
So the new phenomenon the new phenomenon I've witnessed, like I rent an office, $3,000 a month from Regents, and the new phenomenon that I witnessed is that they're putting like black gay men in these executive positions, in these senior positions, and these are the men, and they're like talking down, and you know, they're very hostile and sassy and disrespectful. And so I've noticed that at not just that in the real estate field, but also in you know, when you look at fashion, when you look at these different companies now, they're like dealing with us on condition. Right? So it's just a twisted and nothing can be straightforward and up the middle. It always has to be on condition or some type of perverted, you know, exit. We're going to deal with you, but you have to subscribe to this political ideology. So, you know, once again, man, the system is corrupt.
Let me tell you. Let me jump on that for 1 second. Let me get on that for 1 second. When I think I was either 18 or 19, or whatever the case. I was around that age, and I went to the bank, you know, just to make this is when you had to go to the bank to make deposits and stuff like that, and you know, cash out your money. Yeah, back in the day, but I went to the bank to do that, to do something. And this guy offered me, it was a black guy, offered me a job at the bank. He was like, hey, you know, we're hiring or whatever. Just send your resume over or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can work at the bank. That's a lot better than working at McDonald's. So I told my dad about it. And my dad was like, hey, be careful. I'm like, be careful. Why? It's the bank. What more legit place to work at? Because he didn't like, he wasn't really a fan of me at McDonald's, but okay. He said, be careful. And then he said, because they don't like straight black men working at the bank. And I thought to myself, okay. So then I started noticing every time I would go to the bank, there would be a lot of black women in the front of the bank. There's a lot of black women who are bank tellers at the bank. The ones in the back in the office in the meeting, those are white men who are making the decisions about how the bank is going to operate. They're making the decisions about who gets the loan. They're the ones giving the final say. Now they'll have the black women be the bank tellers, you know, with the pretty faces and all that stuff. And then I noticed that the black men that you see, a lot of them are moist black men. They have a lot of the gay black men at the bank, in at the face of the bank. I'm like, damn, there really isn't a lot of straight black men at the bank like that. And you might see one here or there or whatever the case is, but for the most part, you really don't. And that's what happens when a lot of these corporate jobs, they'll have, oh, you'll be the front, Shaquiqua, you'll be the front right over here. Demetrius, you can be the front right over here. We'll be the ones making the decisions and giving the promotions and getting all the money. You guys won't be, and everything like that. And they like to do that and this ain't to, you know, beat up or whatever the case is, but I got to tell it Tell the truth. They like to do that to the black men who are in the Skittles crowd. They like to do that to them because they comply way more often than the straight black man does. They know for a fact, okay, if it's a straight black man or a gay black man, they know the straight black man, there's certain things he won't tolerate. He won't be as complicit in what we got going on as this other guy is here. They know to a degree. I'd rather already pick a buck broken man than have to buck break or potentially try to buck break somebody. So that's why they pick them, because they all like, okay, well, we won't even have any problems with him. He's not going to buck the system. He's not going to go against the grain. We ask him to do this. We ask him to do that. He's just going to do it. That's how they see it. And unfortunately, that's how it's been running. That's how it's been operating, because those people, and not all of them, but we got to be honest, a lot of people in that segment, the letters, a lot of people in the Skittles crowd, they want to be different from the rest of black people. You know what I'm saying? So they don't get offended when the boss tells a racist joke, because they think of themselves as different from the rest of black people. You've seen, and I know we're getting a little off, I'm going to bring it back. You've seen so many videos like TikToks of moist black men talking to black men as if they're not a black man. You black men, y'all need to stop. And you black men, as if they're not black men, because they see themselves as different, so that's why they hire them and all that. Not because they're going back to affirmative action.
The disciplinary men over a straight black man, right? So if you have a problem or you report you have an issue, then they'll use them to throw you in. They'll throw them in front of you, and then they have like this sassy kind of confrontational, oh, you got to get back in your place because I'm in charge type of personality. Like, it's a sick system that they're implementing now, right? Like the politics is bleeding over into corporate America, and they're intentionally positions of authority to be kind of like the new, like to be the new master on the plantation, right? Like these guys, they're the buck breakers now. They're the ones cracking the whip. They're the overseers. Like, hey, you have this position. We're gonna put you in charge. You make sure these straight black people stay in their place.
That's true. That's true. It goes into, and they do it not just with the gay black men, they do it with black women too. That's why they have a thing about black women in their hair. Okay, and it gets kind of a little bit deeper with this, because they'll know a black woman who has a thing against her hair. She's always perming her hair, straightening her hair. She doesn't like her natural texture or whatever the case is. They'll know, okay, that's a sign to them. That's a sign that she's buck broken. That's a sign that she's with the system. A black woman in there with locks, with a big afro, with all that stuff, always doing her hair and wearing it naturally. That's a sign that she might be a little bit too on that side. Because what happens is when black people, and this goes into FBA history, you can talk about the Pullman porters and all that stuff. When black people get in these positions, black people, if they can't bring other black people in those positions, black people are always giving other black people game. Black people like, hey man, look, I overheard the boss talking about this. Here, what you do, take this loan out, you put this in that bank, you put that in your savings account, and that's going to get an interest rate, and then you put that in your this. And black people are always giving other black people game and helping other black people out. Like, hey, this about to blow up, so take your money out of this, put it in it. Black people know that black people do that. So that's why they want to cherry pick black people who don't like black people. They like to cherry pick black people to put in these positions who want to separate themselves from the rest of black society. So they're killing two birds with one stone, because not only are they filling their quota, so the company appears less racist, because, oh, look, it's a black man, it's a black woman, come on, how can we be racist? The image looks clearer And the ones that they're picking, they know they won't disseminate any information to the rest of Black society. So it's almost like they're being a gatekeeper to the rest of Black people. So that's why they feel safe. They feel safe with that. That's why they pick them so much.
Fire, 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 fire. Y'all brothers nailed it. Nailed it. All affirmative action is like you said, brother, it's them weaponizing this against us. You see a lot of parallels from the plantation and then the way affirmative action works. And I want to put this out there as well. How many brothers and sisters have ever worked anywhere in corporate America where you're the only Black person there and you might see another Black person in the parking lot on the way home because you didn't know that he worked way on one side of the building and your ass worked way on the other side of the building. And they do that to keep you separated. As our brother Afro was just saying, they like them prepaid. They like prepaid bucks. They want your ass already broken when you show up. It's funny how a female can't go and work in corporate America with an Afro or have anything that's pro-Black, but yet a man can show up wearing a purse and a skirt. And that can come on in. You come up in there with green hair and your fingernails done. And you can be a man and they'll say, hey, man, you got a good position. Let a sister come in there with anything pro-Black. She can't even have a goddamn shirt with a fist on it. And they're going to try to stop you. So you see already that they like them prepaid, as our brother was just alluding to. And we got to be honest about that, you know, that aspect and that portion of it, because that is exactly what it is. It's the plantation, the corporate. Anybody who's ever worked in corporate America or been in corporate America, you see that shit is ran just like a plantation. You have your overseers, you got your sellouts, you got your backstabbers. And then at the same time, you got them trying to put forth all of these people out there that are already down. What our brother said, they like Blacks who don't like Blacks. And if you got that mentality, your ass is going to be the first one getting applied to the job. If you even give them an inkling that you are pro-Black or you talking anything for the people, your ass is out of there. They not playing none of those games. But you know what, man? I see my sister Miriam up here on the floor, and I ain't talking to my sister in a minute, man. So I'm just going to fall all the way back, sister, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a salute and let you go ahead and cook, family.
Good evening, family. Shout out to you, Black Alpha. Shout out to you, Queen Alpha, Brother Elite. Brother Bisilla, the room is full of family, peace, and love. Definitely, brother. I could not agree with you all like more. As far as the aspects of dealing in corporate America, you are so right. It is very plantationist and very much like being incarcerated. As if you walked in a large prison. You have your different sections, you have your different people in their different sets. These people are afraid to even hear their own voices outside of like their own personal space. And someone's always watching, trying to pay attention to what you're doing. And then when they're not hunched over doing what they are doing, they always have ears out. It's a awarded system of telltellers. And whereas you have the gay Black man in power, they award such behavior. They are the messiest and uncouth people you ever want to meet in a workplace. They truly are cutthroat, especially when they look at a gorgeous, strong Black woman. They look at her up and down, pop their lip, okay, fish. You know, this is their language, their lingo. And just very, disrespectful and off-putting. And the same thing when you have a corporate munching lesbian. Yes, brother.
I ain't even hit that, man. That did that. You keep going, sister.
Okay. The same thing applies to a corporate munching lesbian. They would simply do everything to undercut a sister in the workplace that has any sense of self, one that doesn't go along just quietly with the program. They often stand in front of sisters and brothers who are go-getters, like they stop you from climbing up the ladder. They are the ideal token puppet mascot that is on display for their massa. And they do anything for butter biscuits with white chocolate chips in them. They will do anything for it. I mean, they will hang a brother and sister out to dry, even so far as to make up an excuse for them, like falling on the sword for Becky in the office, or Brad in the office. They will sit there like a child that has swallowed their own lip, with, attitude. Won't even write these people up or take them to HR, but let you turn a corner wrong, because it was your break and you got on up and proceeded to your break, and they were coming where you was. Well, I was heading to you to say something. You're leaving on break now. We all scheduled to go on break now. I meant the audacity and the mindset, the necrosis of mental illness of clear people with a straw sipping the runoff, the diarrhea of the runoff of white supremacy. They take all of that straight with no chaser, just gobble it down, and will always look down on a brother or sister or our society. And anything dealing with us moving forward, they always do a little pushback. They are afraid to even represent on any level. And that's why I don't feel any type of way about affirmative action being dissolved, because it has not been ours since maybe the early part of the 80s. It was already being co-opted. It was already being moved into, particularly by clear-colored, women. And then, of course, a lot of their men got some type of kickbacks and things of that nature, but they'll tell you they suffered and they did, and they don't get anything from it. But it's your woman, the one that benefit from it the most. And now, they've been orchestrated it in the late 70s so that tethers and the tether class and or immigrants can be able to piggyback ride off of those rights and provisions that was supposedly made for us. They've been started ostracizing us from out of the whole program, and it just became evidently more clearer every decade. It got more and more clear to now where you have Ukrainians who have a right to be in a historically black college than you or I do. And forget about the scholarships. They're crowding them all and giving them to anybody but us. And this black and brown so-called coalition been died on this sword a few years after they got what they needed, just like the pointy head people and everyone else did. Every time they benefit for something that we do, anything that we have fought and died and have given our intellectual properties to, and our bodies, mind and souls of our ancestors, and some of our aunts and uncles, and some of our parents and grandparents, have fought to get these provisions and these, I won't say laws, but policies and things instituted on our behalf, only for it to be taken and co-opted. That's why I've never considered myself to be a minority. I never considered myself a person of color. I've never considered myself a so-called pork chop feminist. I mean, it's an oxymoron. All of these things are a detriment to FBA life, to the black man and woman and our children of these skilled people, using all of our Bill of Rights, all of our rights, civil rights, to get things and provisions for themselves. And it's time, family, that we stand strong and say it with our chest, be sure-footed, and put our foot down and do whatever's necessary towards this abomination of movement, this abomination of demonic hypocrisy that they are pushing towards our people with this grooming of our children. And they're using these affirmative action acts to push it forward. So I'm glad that's dissolved on that level. They're always doing these things, and it's just perverse. to crowbar this into our Music Appreciation Month, to crowbar it into our Juneteenth celebration. They have used these things to come up and interject into us and to try to make it a unilateral identity, and we're tired of you putting your sexuality before that, which what we need to do. And I'll yield my time. Brother Afro Elite would like to speak. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, sister. I greatly appreciate that. And we have to think about that as well too, as far as the schools too, because when people think of affirmative action, the main thing people think about is the jobs in the workplace, because I mean that's the main thing it was for. But affirmative action also applies to different school grants, colleges, and stuff like that too. And a lot of that stuff, the same type of energy of the double minority, you're definitely going to get in before a black man is like that. So the same principle applies everywhere. So you're going to see the same shift from the job place. You're going to see that in the school place as well too. You know, I just want to add that in. But I'm not going to be too long. We got our good brother Beatzilla on the stage. Beatzilla, you got it?
Yes, indeed. What is going on, family? What is going on? So peace to everybody in the room. Peace to my brothers and my good sister Queen Alpha and my good sister Miriam and everybody else in the room. Affirmative action. You know how I see this. You know, and if for those of y'all who know, I've been saying this for a while. We need to get white women off of the minority list. So that I've been advocating for a while. The other thing about this, how it plays out, and I hope that too many people don't fall for the political theater that they're going to try to start, because right now I'm already seeing they're trying to present Ketanji Brown Jackson as some kind of black icon that's going to start now chastising Clarence Thomas. Nah, y'all two peas are the same pie. Picked coons. And that's all that is there. So looking at how all of this is going to play out, well, it affects all of the other groups who have sought to jump on our backs to get benefits. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the Democrats up in arms, because truth be told, this is tearing their little voter base apart, because they're banking on all of these other these illegals, these tethers, and all of the Skittles bag community. They are banking on them getting in front of us. Now we have something complete. We just got, truth be told, look at it. We got a weight off of our back, family, because now we can firmly just simply deal with lineage-based issues. So we don't have to sit up here, well, black and brown, we don't have no coalition, never did. But now that they have done away with the whole affirmative action thing, even more shall we start seeing people come to us, well, this struggle is like being black, and well, this struggle is like being black, and this ain't gonna happen this time. Because what they have had in the past is black folks' sympathy. Well, we don't want to denigrate any other group that goes through oppression and all type of this. There's nobody in our shoes, family, and we ride this bus alone. So how this is all going to play out for these other groups, it's really disaster. This don't mean nothing to us, because affirmative action really wasn't helping us no way. This will, truth be told, it almost seems like a faucet is being cut off for the tethers. So if you, because think about it, Howard got a bunch of Nigerians over there. They over there be celebrating like they belong there, getting all these scholarships that should be going to foundational Black Americans. These people are getting their faucets turned off. So it's kind of moving. If you see how the play is, it's moving to the Black American and the white American, and everybody else is going to have to fend for themselves, because we're not letting our claim go away. So that's why you are starting to hear everybody else, well, man, it's going to bankrupt this. It's going to bankrupt this. If you can mistakenly give Ukraine $6.2 billion and then turn right around 4 days later and give them another $500 million, don't talk to us about what you ain't got. So affirmative action, I think, is a good thing that they took it down. I don't really see any major fallout for us. I do see a major problem for all of these other groups who have tried to tether themselves to us. So for me, hey, it's just another day being black. As far as I'm concerned, let them people hold their own nuts. And a special shout out to my brother Black Alpha. If y'all didn't see his broadcast last night, he went in on old Kubar Vasquez. So y'all might want to check that out if you have not. Also check out my brother Afro Elite's video breaking down the I have quit on black empowerment, Umar Johnson. So I hope y'all understand. I touched on that myself last Friday. That dude is quick. So tethers like Umar are now going to be in the wind because they don't have no base, and we ain't going to be that. So family, this is a good day for us. So just enjoy it, relish in the moment, and relish in all of your excellence and all of your blackness, and let everybody else hold their own bonnet. Back to you, my brother.
Okay, as we waiting for Alpha to come back, thank you very much, B-Zilla. And interesting, you had one last night. So shout out to you for yours. You know what I'm saying? You was doing your business. You was breaking down the knowledge. I appreciate that. Now, if we understand, this is why it's very important for us to understand history, not just for the sake of knowing history as just random facts, but it's good for us to know our history so we can know how to move forward, how to apply it to today, how to use it. Now, back hundreds of years ago, the Union was actually pretty much a white man advocacy group. Now, they talk about the Union as if the Union saved black people from slavery, which is not the case at all. The Union advocated for white men. That's the whole origin of the Union, was poor, less skilled white men were talking about, okay, well, we don't have these, we need jobs. So that's what the Union was for, because you had a whole bunch of companies all like, well, you have freed black people at that time. Why would I hire you, and you can do less work than these free black people? So you had the Union being formed because of them. So you always had a segment of people who were less skilled than black people, and they needed a leg up. All this is stemming back from slavery, okay? And now they're complaining about affirmative action. And the reason they're complaining about affirmative action is because the leg up that they used to have during the times of the Union, where you had like pretty much a white man advocacy group for employment, you don't have that anymore. Even though that still does, the system and the benefits still does prioritize them, still does benefit them majority. You have statistics that prove that a black man who is a college graduate is less likely to get a call back from a job than a white man with a criminal record. So they still do have priority. They still do have privileges in the workplace, in society. But now they want, I want all of the privilege. Instead of 90% of the privileges, I want it all. They feel like affirmative action to a degree, which only tips the balance a little bit against the poor and less skilled white man, and it tips it a little bit against their favor. They want that completely gone. They need all of it now, because they have to actually compete with non-white, especially black people, because even the non-white people get a leg up to a certain degree. If everything was fair, black people would have everything, because we're the ones who make everything run. We're the ones who bring in the new ideas, bring in the customers, make things run, operate smoothly. They need us to power everything, but they need all these other people to be in the positions of supervisors and all of that stuff so they can keep their racial hierarchy going. That's the whole reason for that. So they want to take away affirmative action because they're feeling like, okay, this competition thing is getting a little bit too hard for us. We're not supposed to have any competition. This isn't supposed to be fair. If you guys have seen Jason Black's film Race War, Richard Spencer said, and this was something that they all feel inside deeply, they don't believe in fairness. They don't really believe in competition. They believe in the in the optics of fairness, in the optics of fair competition and competitiveness, but they don't really believe in that. They want to see a fixed outcome where they're on top, they got the position, they get the promotions and all of that. They want that. So they've been asking to get rid of affirmative action for a long time because they need that. Because they're all like, hey, if I have to compete with a black person in a car dealership, and this black person's more charismatic, more articulate, more well-read, can relate to people more, and they're going to sell more cars than me. If this teacher can teach more students than I can, what's going to happen to me? Which was the whole origin of the union anyway. So this is why it's good to know history, so you can kind of understand what the mind frame and the mentality is today and why they're doing that today. So this is advocating for them, even though, and so you guys know, and I think our brother Black Alpha's back, but even though they still have the privilege, they still have the majority. If they have 90%, and then they see that number drops to 89%, they get scared out of their mind. Their anxiety goes all the way up. They're all like, oh my God, we're about to lose everything. The ship is crashing. Well, we're about to drown right now. What are we going to do? If they lose 1%, if they see the trend going a little bit against where they need it to go, they're like, okay, all of this, that's got to stop. With the George Floyd thing, when you see all of these companies being called out for their anti-black racism, and they are like, oh, okay, no, we're not anti-black. Let's hire all of these quote unquote minorities. We're going to hire all these minorities to kind of save face from being called anti-black racist when that stuff was starting to come up again. Now they're all like, okay, now we need to get rid of all these minorities and replace them with white folks again. Now we need to get them out of here. Now we need to fix everything back the way it was. It's the pendulum of power trying to turn the clock backwards to the 1950s, the 1940s. That's kind of what a lot of this is, what a lot of their thinking and their thought process is. Black Alpha, you back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all breaking it down. Big shots out. Before I say anything, though, I want everybody to go up in the Jumbotron right now, and I want y'all to swing over to my brother Afro Elite tonight. He's going to speak about how America openly allows hate crimes against foundational Black Americans. So you guys make sure you tune in. That's going to be pure fire. And I want to see everybody in this room over there tonight at about 8 o'clock. Y'all make sure y'all pull up. But I want y'all to also understand how my brother just broke it down from both sides, as well as Zilla. See, it's not just a one-sided thing. That's that good cop, bad cop thing they do, all right? So the dominant society is going to have the Republicans come out, and they're going to tell a story, and then the Democrats are going to come out and tell a story. Remember, in the system of supremacy, somebody got to play the hero, somebody got to play the villain. And Black folks for too long fell for that. Until now, this generation, we understand they both are the villain. They both the bad guy. It's just one is acting this way and the other's acting that way. So if you've been listening to the space, we've been breaking down the way the Republicans are viewing affirmative action and how the Democrats are viewing affirmative action. And it's the same old tired ass game that they always run. The Democrats come out and talk about how racist the Republicans are, and mind you, they never admit to racism unless they can dump it on a Republican. And then the Republicans come out and they try to act like, well, it's not our fault, it's their fault. And they do this back and forth, back and forth. Basically, it's what I always call supremacy on supremacy crime. Or we can call it mayonnaise on Miracle Whip crime. Whatever one you want to call it, it's one of those two, all right? And this is what happens. So don't get caught up in the mayonnaise versus Miracle Whip, all right? They still are going to be the same people, going to go to the same household, and they're going to put that shit on their nasty-ass dried-out sandwich with some Brussels sprouts on the side, okay? And some unseasoned food. It's going to be the same exact thing. And this is why we got to understand it and salute to us, because we have been understanding it. And the main thing that we have been putting down is that we've been getting rid of those terms like minority and people of color, and we've been making sure that everything is lineage-based. That term lineage-based, we've been saying that now roughly for about 2-3 years. And I want everybody to notice what that's done. That has prevented all of the Africans from getting in on our reparations. And right now it's putting that line in the affirmative action so everybody understands. So it's hard out here for Tether. It's hard out here for Karen as well. And they're going to wake up tomorrow and they're going to do what they always do. They're going to say, let's call up FBA. Let's convince FBA this is about them. Let's tell FBA that their rights are under assault. And then they're going to try to get us in. Y'all notice that shit didn't work with the Roe versus Wade. They called up every black woman they could find. And sisters was not picking up that damn phone. Sister was like, I'm not going out there sitting on the front line of your little battle with your W man and let him beat on me while y'all walk away with something. And sisters declined. Sister was like, F that. They sent them to the fuck you button. You know when you call somebody or somebody call you and you send their ass to the fuck you button? Sisters was hitting Karen, boom, and sending their ass to the fuck you button straight to voicemail. That's what they was doing. So the Roe versus Wade situation, all that was a bunch of Karens got their asses whooped. Mayo Matt, he was beating the hell out of meth head Melissa. And that had nothing to do with us. And we sat back and enjoyed it. And it's the same situation right here with affirmative action. And it's going to continue to be the same way, so on and so forth, because we are lineage based through a wrench in everything. They weren't expecting that. They didn't expect us in this generation to literally change the whole discourse and the dialogue. They thought they was going to run the yes, we can for 100 years. They thought they was going to run the people of color for 100 years. How you know? Is because they literally spent billions of dollars to try to implement that type of language into the lexicon of America. And we got rid of that shit in about 2 years. Point blank, period. So the tethers understand they ass on that side of the street. And then the W's understand they ass on that side of the street, and foundational Black Americans are what we always are. So it's hard out here for a tether and it's hard out here for a Karen, but it's business as usual for us. So they can come out with the whole onslaught. They can pull out Roland Martin or whoever. Roland Martin, his big ass probably right now is eating some Popeye's chicken and putting together a piece that's going to have 20 goddamn viewers tonight. And he's going to be trying to convince black folks how this is our problem. Michael Erica Dyson is going to do the same thing. Carnell West, all right, Broken Buck, Kari Sellers, Fan Jones, all of them, they all going to come out and they're going to be trying to convince us that this is about us, but they're going to fall flat just like everything that they've done in the last 5 years. It has nothing to do with foundational Black Americans because we didn't benefit from it. How the hell can something be about us that we didn't benefit from? It's clear when you look at the statistics, and by the way, they all have access to the statistics, to all the data. They understand that foundational Black Americans have never benefited from affirmative action, so do not let them sell that to us, all right? Because anything other than that is a lie. So you can just look right now and see who's angry about this situation, and there go your op. That simple as that. And then you go in the other direction. Find out what supremacy is trying to get black folks to do and do the opposite, and you're going to always be good. So when you see tonight all these W women, the whole Skittles bag community, you're going to see Karen popping up, Tethers, everybody. They're going to be popping up from every goddamn country, and they're going to be trying to call black folks and try to tell us that we need to get involved, and we're going to sit this one out. Y'all remember that little June 1st thing where they was going to walk out on the job, and they were saying they was going to boycott everything? I went and bought me some Florida orange juice. I bought about 8 of them. And I walked right through their neighborhood and was drinking all. I was pouring that shit out like they pour out liquor. I was making sure I bought everything. Matter of fact, I was wearing my Florida fitted hat just to piss them off. And that's the beauty. We sitting out everything that doesn't have anything to do with our lineage, our heritage, and our culture. And just by us doing that, we send ripple effects throughout the whole country. And those ripple effects got everybody falling over flat. And we're going to continue to do that because that's the way we operate. That's the way we function. And this is a new time and a new era and a new day. And it's all in foundational Black American handwriting. Go ahead, Brother Zilla.
You know, I want to ask y'all brothers a question. And because it crossed my mind as I'm listening to y'all speak. And it kind of dawned on me before. But do y'all understand? Okay, I'm just looking at this whole affirmative action getting struck down. Look at it this way. What if they understand our lineage-based issue now undercuts all of their tactics against us? So with that being said, you can't get in the way of lineage-based reparations. So how do you use this situation as a contingency plan? Foundational Black Americans would get reparations while everybody else still benefits from affirmative action. It just seems to me that they are getting a little mentally prepared to concede to reparations. Now, of course, I ain't saying this is going to happen overnight, but I look at this as almost a contingency plan that they're putting in place just in case we get our reparations, and then they still have all these programs for all these other folks out here that they don't want to spend money on. Because the whole reason why they had those programs in the first place was to undermine us. So what y'all brothers think about that?
Hey, you can say that, Afro, and then I'll come right after you, brother.
Repeat that one more time. I was moving around.
Okay, so for instance, do you think that this not striking down of affirmative action might be because they do foresee and forecast foundational Black Americans getting lineage-based reparations? So with that being said, all these other groups that would benefit from all these other programs that were set up to undercut us and undermine us just got the axe today. So do you think that that might have part to play in it?
Yeah, it can have a part to play in it. Definitely. We have to understand that, as Professor Black Truth said, white supremacy breaks their tools. White supremacy doesn't like any of these other groups of people. Now, we're not confused about that. They are confused about that. We understand that they don't like them, but they hate us. They're the big enemy. They're like the little minions you fight before the big boss. But we're the big boss. We're the big target and everything. So whatever they do to help them, to assist them, they don't want to do that. But if it could hurt us more, they're going to do that for us. Now, are you saying that if it's about reparations, do you think that they're doing this to undermine them? It possibly could be because of that. But the thing is that they've been advocating against affirmative action for a good while now. So they need it to be all like, hey, even pretending that you're hiring black people or non-white people, that needs to stop. We need all the jobs now. We need everything now. And you know what? To be totally honest with you, that's fine. Because if it wasn't benefiting us primarily, if it wasn't benefiting us, if it was benefiting them more, that's good. Because when you put people's back up against the wall, you force that group of people to create alternatives, to create other options, to create things. So, and this is why I've never been super big on advocating for raising the minimum wage, because we shouldn't be looking for these corporations' minimum wages, because that shows a sign of complacency. Okay, we should be looking to have our own things and our own corporations and our own everything. And this is what is the end of affirmative action. We can use that to kind of say, this is why we need to have our own things. This is even more reason why we need reparations. Since you brought up the topic of reparations, which I'm glad you did, this is more of a reason why we need our reparations, because if we had our reparations, we would need their affirmative action. The only reason why we needed their affirmative action is because we built the country, we built the corporations, the industries, the jobs, and all of that. And then we were gatekept out of that. Then they said that we're managing this. Thanks for building it, Negroes, but we're not going to hire you. No Negroes allowed. And then we were fighting against that when actually we should have been fighting for the same things. Okay, if you want to have your hospital, fine, but let us have our hospital. Now, we can get into the history of that because we did have our own hospitals and all of that stuff too. And they bombed that and they flooded that. And, but we're not going to dive too much into that. But the thing is that if we had our reparations, their affirmative action wouldn't mean anything to us. It wouldn't mean it wouldn't harm us, just like it's kind of not harming us now. So instead of looking at this like we're doomed, which is what the Democrats and the Republicans are going to, or not the Democrats, Republicans. This is what the Democrats are going to do. Black people, you're going to be unemployed. Black people, you're not going to have any jobs, because the only reason you have any jobs is because of affirmative action anyway, let's be honest. So if you vote for me, you'll have a job. If you don't, you won't have a job. But the thing is that we should use the affirmative action, the end of affirmative action, to say this is why we need reparations. Because if we had reparations, if wealth was equally and distributed around America, there would not need to be a reason for affirmative action. We need to get to the reason why there's affirmative action in the country in the first place. There's affirmative action in the country in the first place because foundational Black Americans built things, built the wealth, built the jobs, built the corporations, and then white people said, okay, we run this and we're not hiring you. And then Black people are like, okay, no, you have to hire us, or whatever the case is. But if this was a fair country, a race-blind country that they claim that it is, there would not need to be affirmative action at all. Even the affirmative action, which is not really affirmative action because there's still hella racial disparities in the job place. There wouldn't even need to be that if America was fair. So we take affirmative action and we flip the conversation to see this is why we need reparations. Because what they're going to do is they're going to try to say, okay, well, reparations, that's one thing, but we're going to have to put a pin in that conversation because affirmative action, that's the new crisis of America. We have a new crisis of America. We're going to talk about affirmative action and the next couple elections down the road, but we have to talk about affirmative action right now. That's the pending issue. Black and brown, you're not going to have any jobs. It's going to be terrible. You're all going to be homeless. But what we do is we flip it and we say, well, you know what? The fact that we have affirmative action in America in the first place is proof that there is ongoing white supremacy, and this is why we need our reparations. Let me invite our brother John Horse up in here. Now it's going on a little spill. John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
All right, you got it, brother.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna piggyback on what y'all was saying, man. Yeah, we're not in a bad spot. This actually plays into what, you know, needs to happen for us. So, you know, in a certain sense, I feel like our ancestors are taking us back to fix the problems that we should have been focused on in the beginning, is, you know, which is our lineage-based reparations. So I think we're on the right path. It's just the ancestors are kind of working on our favor. And, you know, for our people, you know, some people gonna freak out and, oh my God, they're getting rid of affirmative action. It's like, no, don't even worry about them getting rid of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing for you to freak out about. Sometimes you got to go backwards, and it's just like a math problem. Sometimes when you try to solve and get the answer and you get the outcome, sometimes you got to go back and look at where you went wrong to go back and then fix it. And that's what we're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So they literally exposed themselves. It was your people of color that was sitting there advocating to get rid of this shit. So yeah, good luck with them, because that shit is about to backfire on them. So I don't know what they gonna do.
Now, before you actually, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's why they get a lot of these business loans, these business grants, not even loans. They get business grants. You Asians barely, I know speak English, but they got different Asian salon stores where they have illegal workers because they're not certified. A lot of them are not certified. They're self-taught. They don't go to school. They don't have a license, but they're self-taught and they're doing nails. The health inspector doesn't come into them. They don't come into their nasty ass restaurants. They get a lot of the stuff that we deserve. This is why I'm saying the whole thing with affirmative action, you have to understand the history of that, because we were the ones who deserved all of that stuff. That's what affirmative action was there for, because Black people were qualified for those positions that we were just being denied just based off of the fact that we were Black. These people, these non-Black, non-white people, these quote-unquote people of colors, they come in and they get the affirmative action benefits, but they aren't qualified for a lot of the stuff that they get. So the pull yourselves up by your bootstraps that they were telling us, because they were standing behind a bulletproof glass at their gas station, we're going to be the ones telling them, because they're not going to be able to come in and get all these benefits and everything and then try to pop their collar acting like they're working so hard. My family came here with $5 and we got multiple gas stations, we got multiple Subways, we got multiple Dunkin' Donuts. Look at us, look how well we're doing. That means that you guys aren't doing anything because we're just so much smarter than you guys. But they were benefiting from the program that we put in place as foundational Black Americans. So now that all of that is off the board now, not all that is going to be, I would say, off the board now, and everybody got to get it how they live, and now they're going to be knocked down to the level of the American Negro. They're going to wind up seeing that, oh, all that flexing that you guys were doing was very premature, because now you guys don't get it like that. Now you guys can't get it like that. Now you guys are not getting the promotions, and they're still going to benefit because there's still anti-Black racism. Don't get me wrong. But now that you guys aren't going to get as much of it as you guys think you guys are going to get, now it's going to be a more even playing field. But they hate them too. So now they're going to get a level of hate that they're not used to getting now. And they're not going to be able to handle that.
Yep. And also, too, another thing, too, just looking at what Dr. Claude Anderson was saying, he was even saying that, I mean, shit, if they can get rid of affirmative action, even when it comes to civil rights, we should probably even stop focusing in on that. Shit, we barely benefit from that, to be honest. It's all these other groups that benefit from civil rights, not us. We fought for it, but we don't really benefit from it. So even if they was willing to get rid, we need specific laws specific for us. And that's what Dr. Claude Anderson was sitting there talking about. He was specifically saying that we need to target the Constitution because there's a second Constitution. Always remember, everybody in this room, the original Constitution was the first affirmative action plan for white people. That's literally what he said. That's the first affirmative action plan. The Constitution is the first affirmative action plan for white folks. And then they were forced to make those specific amendments for us. Those specific amendments, y'all know the amendments and everything like that. Those were specifically for us. So we need to also target those and make sure that they specifically are for us based on our lineage. Everything that we do from this point on is based on lineage. Lineage over everything.
Hey, look at it like this, family. There's a changing of the guard. That's what's happening. Every single thing that we were used to from the past is changing. And it's changing all because of us. I say that all the time. Foundational Black Americans and the Black grassroots are changing America every single day. That's why you're seeing these old, outdated things fall down. All the gatekeepers, those people are irrelevant. We got rid of all of them. All those people that used to run around and gatekeep the dominant society, we ran them all off the block. So now when their presence isn't here anymore, and we've replaced that with real codified energy, you're starting to see a real codified presence, and we are changing it day to day. Barack Obama's and all the Democratic leaders, we go down the whole list. There's too many to name, but none of those people are actually relevant out here in these streets. They can put them on TV all the time. They can have 100 interviews, but those interviews don't move things an inch. We are making sure that the old guard is done, and we're ushering a new wave, and this new wave is getting rid of these things. Affirmative action and what's going on today right now, nobody would have ever suspected this a few years ago. It just wouldn't have happened, but it's all happening right now. Just like reparations. You go back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, reparations was something nobody was talking about, but everybody talks about it because of us. Like I said before, they're having presidential elections where they're actually asking presidential candidates about reparations for us. And y'all know goddamn well that would have never happened 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's not, but that's because when we showed up, the game changed. And I want everybody to look at both sides, as my brother was alluding to. You have the Miracle Whip side, and then you have the mayonnaise side. All right. One side wants to uplift all of these other tethers through affirmative action so they can replace foundational Black Americans. But like our brother Afro said, the other side is saying, no, fuck that. We don't want nobody. We need those jobs. They're looking at the population changing in America, and they saying we don't want tethers or anybody taking jobs away from the dominant society. And then you look at the Democrats, who Black folks been voting for 90%, but that shit's about to change because of us. But you look at the Democrats and they're saying, okay, yeah, they're not FBA though. Let's uplift all these other groups. And now foundation Americans are literally getting to the point where we sitting back and we watching supremacy on supremacy crime. We watching Mayo versus the Miracle Whip, and they going back and forth. And we can benefit off of that. I always say, anytime your two ops is fighting each other, that's when you go ahead, you sit back and you roast and chill and you relax and you watch them fight, and then you step up and change the game. And that's what we've been doing. We've been letting them go back and forth all the time. We've been watching Trump versus Biden. I'm telling y'all, this next election cycle going to be funny as hell. It's going to be fun. I hope Donald Trump gets up there with Joe Biden, because I can't wait to see them goddamn debates. That shit's going to be funny. But founding Americans, we can sit there right in the middle and watch the left versus the right, the red versus the blue, the mayonnaise and the Miracle Whip, and we can benefit from it. And all these other tethers out here, they're all going to have to deal with it. It's hard out here for a tether. And notice, and I want to put this on the table, notice every election season, there's always something that happens that the Democrats point to, and they say, like our brother Afro said, it's a crisis. It's some type of violation. It's some type of sin against Black folks. Whether that's a race soldier harming a Black person, and then the Democrats come in and they hijack the election, okay? Or it turns into a voter rights or voter suppression type of thing, and then they try to get Black folks to go for that, and now they're going to use the same thing with affirmative action. But think about it. When a race soldier harms us and they tell us that affects us, we don't get no hate crime laws up. When they talk about voter suppression, we've been able to vote since the 1960s. And when they talk about affirmative action, it's actually been affirmative inaction for us. So at the end of the day, none of these things that they point to that is supposedly affecting foundational Black Americans ever actually do anything for us. And we're just the first generation, I hate to say it, but we're the first generation that's smart enough to call this shit out. We're real enough to put the receipts on the table, and therefore you're starting to see a true change. So to answer what anybody is thinking, affirmative action has nothing to do with us because we don't benefit from it. Just like when they try to say vote for Joe Biden because George Floyd got, that didn't help us at all. And then when they talk about voter suppression, that doesn't help us at all either. It's always something that they're going to say is for us, but it's for everybody else. And we're the first ones that took that paperwork, split that shit up, threw it in the trash can, and now we're writing a whole new era, a whole new time, and it's got to benefit us. Sister Miriam, it's on you.
Thank you, brother. Just to veggie back right off of what you were saying, definitely. Even Dr. Martin Luther King, on the end of one of his famous speeches was simply stating that I'm afraid that I sold us into a burning building, meaning that fighting for integration, to be able to be present where they are was a detriment to us. Even Dr. Claude Anderson makes that clear. We should have stayed separate but equal. Equality is what we should always have fought for and stood for. But now, like you said, it's time to focus on our lineage-based reparations and lineage-based everything. And the right to have equal stability, equal economical status, and in this country, and just be about gatekeeping and pushing forth, keeping our eyes straight on our goals and what is necessary, making sure that we keep gatekeeping our culture, as well as making sure that I'm driving, so I have to pay attention, but making sure that we are strong and we pull through and stay focused on everything, because like you said, these affirmative actions and other programs never benefited us, and these unions never benefited us. Still to this day, they do not. So the dissolve of these different policies, they definitely are going to have to hold their own jollof. They're definitely going to have to hold their own tacos and their own rice bowls, because they're no longer going to be able to use us as a shield. And that goes for all these Skittle community people as well, trying to equate any little suffering or any little thing because they're throwing a temper tantrum to the struggles of what it is to be Black, or the discrimination and the unfair treatment and even slavery. That's for sure. I yield my time.
The whole thing. All right, Miss Eddings, it's on you, sister.
Shout out to the host, the co-host, like Alpha Elite, Queen Alpha, Beat Zilla. I see you, Sister Miriam. Family. Man, let's get a game plan. I'm so glad you all opened this space. I'm glad that you all talking about solutions, because that's what we need to get focused on, is solutions. Number one, when Tyler Perry and them get this BET, we need to stay on his behind to hire us. Period, point blank. When the folks from California get their reparations, we need to start businesses, hire us. Point blank. We have got to start and go back to the old school of the Black Wall Streets. In every Black city, we need to, if you are in HR, you need to be looking for us. You need to be you need to be some type of way screening to see who we are, and that's got to be the game plan. We have got to be so super codified that they are sick and tired of us, that we get our way. We are going to push. I'm telling y'all, the ancestors are with us. They are with us. They my ancestors touch me and say, you need to move in this direction. What are you doing right now? Let me tell you what Sister Eddings is doing right now. Sister Eddings has formed this genealogy club to where I'm helping inmates in prison get their stuff together and be ready for their reparations. We all have got to pull everything by every bootstrap like they keep telling us. How about we do it again and we do these Black Wall Streets again? And I land. Thank you so much, family.
Appreciate you, sister. I appreciate everybody. We're going to go ahead and wrap this space on up. Y'all make sure y'all swing over to my brother Afro Elite's channel and watch his show tonight. I'm about to post up. I got me some pizza and I'm about to watch him from start to finish, man. So y'all all make sure y'all do the same exact thing. And I want to say something real quick because 4th of July is coming up. Y'all make sure y'all wave them FBA flags on 4th of July, okay? Make sure you do that. Since everybody likes to wave their motherfucking flag, pardon my language, okay? But since everybody likes to wave their bleep, bleep, bleep flag on our day, then we need to go ahead and wave our FBA flag. So I want to see them FBA flags waving on the 4th of July, on Valentine's Day, on Father's Day, Mother's Day. I don't give a damn. Wave our flags the same way they want to wave their shit, and we're going to wave ours and let it be known. It's lineage first, lineage only, just us. I'm going to send it to my brother Afro. He can close it. I'm watching your show tonight. Salute to you, my brother. Salute to you, Beatzilla, the whole family. Nikki, I see you. Everybody. I ain't going to go down the whole list, man. Salute to everybody all in here. Queen Alpha, I'm coming, baby. Peace and love. See y'all later. Afro, bring us home, brother.
Well, first off, I want to thank every single person who's in here, who spoke, for being in here speaking. For the people who are going to watch this later on the replay, for the people who are going to watch this on YouTube, which is going to be on Black Alpha's channel. So you guys definitely want to go to his channel, click his profile, and it's pinned up in the profile in the bio. So definitely go click that. But let's support our brother. Let's make sure we go to the YouTube channel because it's going to be there permanently, you know. So make sure you guys go over there and do that. I'm going to be broadcasting in like 10 minutes. So go to my page. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, too, if you will, please. I would appreciate it. Make sure you guys go do that because it's a lot to break down. But to sum this all up, affirmative action, is this the new crisis of Black America? No. They're always trying to make a certain thing be the crisis of Black America, to galvanize us to quote unquote vote for the Democrats. So come on, guys. I mean, I know we've been unfair. I know we made some mistakes in the past, but Donald Trump, if Donald Trump becomes the president again, the world is going to blow up. The core of the earth is just going to blow up. That's just what's going to happen. So guys, vote. It's the end of the world. Now that they're seeing that there's no way they can galvanize us against Trump again, because Joe Biden has done so poorly, so bad, and there's been so much open racism with his administration, they can't make Trump the big bad boogeyman anymore. That's why they're trying to be all like, man, we don't need him to run again because we're going to lose. It's going to be a wash if we lose. We can't scare anybody with how bad Biden has been. So they tried to use Roe v. Wade. Oh my God, this is a new crisis. Oh my God. Women's rights, come on, guys. They're gonna make every woman pregnant. Come on, we got to do it. And they were like, no, we're still focused on reparations. Now they're trying to do this. They're trying to make the new crisis be affirmative action. Guys, Black and brown, you're not gonna have any jobs. Come on, what are you guys gonna do? And like we've done before, we're not going to allow that to be the new crisis for them to galvanize us for their agenda. We're just not going to allow it. We're not going to allow it. So I appreciate all of the brothers and sisters who are on code, who are looking at this like, it was never for me anyway. I'm kind of glad it's gone. We hashtagging that, yeah. Thank God it's gone. We're more happy that it's gone than everybody else here. So shout out to us, shout out to you guys, and make sure you guys go follow me and my brother Black Alpha. We got our brother Beatzilla in here. We got Torian Reigns was in here, so you guys go make sure you guys check out his page as well too. B1.